conceptual perspective to view things. People talk about a desire to be successful, all of the elements.
Good morning, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace dropping in on you. Hope that everything is going well. For those of you who have been inquiring, yes, I am on the mend. I still have a ways to go. It's a process that requires commitment, consistency, and patience. And I am committed to it 100%. I am definitely on the right path to recovery. All of the love and well wishes and prayers that have been sent my way are more than appreciated. And I am actually excited about what the future holds. To be given a new lease and chance at life means the world to me. Having come that close to leaving this place definitely puts things in perspective. And good morning, Shayna. Hello, Mrs. Henderson. Look, I'm excited about what the future holds, and I want to talk to you this morning, but I also want to let you know there are a couple of things going on. We have two actual challenges going on, the 30-day challenge. A lot of you guys jumped on that, and I'm excited about that. And my recent heart attacks led me to embark upon a 90-day challenge of holistic health. I had neglected a lot of different things that are immensely important at one time that I had under control, and I allowed it to get away with me, becoming consumed with so many things. And I'm not offering any excuses because there aren't any. It's simply you get it done or you don't. But I allowed it to get away from me. And so now I'm committed to changing it. And I've told you this many times before, that there's no such thing as arriving. There's no such thing as the attainment of it all. It is a goal to pursue excellence. It's a goal to pursue perfection, which is completion. But completion is achieved at the point in which you are done. And when you're done, you leave this place. So it is a constant striving of an attempt to be the better version of yourself. Sometimes you're nailing it and you're growing and you're getting there. Sometimes you have setbacks. Sometimes you are stagnant. But at the end of the day, it's your responsibility to grow. And so I've committed the 30-day challenge for me, and the 30-day challenge was sort of an open challenge. It's like, what do you want to improve on? And then people came in and we set up programs and plans for you. Everybody's doing their thing, right? My thing for the 30-day challenge was to be better at building relationships, because I'm a natural introvert, even though everything that I do centers around people and I thrive in it. When I get a chance, I retreat back. My thing is being with me and my family, and I'm good, literally. But I thrive and I work and I have my passion around people, but it's not a natural drawing. So I don't naturally build relationships, which hurts me when I get to a point where I've maxed out what I do, because I don't have a whole bunch of people I've built relationships and networked with. So I'm having to start over. But anyway, that was my 30-day goal. My 90-day thing is specific. And if you're going to join in, it's about holistic health. It's about emotional health, mental health, spiritual health, and physical health. It's about nutrition. It's about mental capacity. It's about mental environment. It's about emotional environment, emotional responses. It's about building something better. And so I'm inviting you guys to take a part in that as well. The link to learn about what it's about and how to do it is in there. If you want to do the shorter 30-day challenge, you can do that. Like I said, the 30-day challenge is about what you want to change, what you want to grow in, and what you want to do. The 90-day challenge is centered around health, holistic health, not just in one area, but completely creating homeostasis. And do you realize that when you create homeostasis, meaning that you find inner peace emotionally, mentally, spiritually, and you create this proper physical environment nutritionally, from exercise, proper, right sunlight, all this stuff, do you realize that the body is primed to heal itself? That there's absolutely nothing the body cannot heal itself from when you're in homeostasis. This is scientifically proven. It is historically proven, and yet very few of us live in it. Most of us are medicated to the max because that's all we know. We treat symptoms, and we never go to the cause. I'm taking mine to the cause because my life is worth living at the highest level, and I've cheated myself for all different types of reasons. That's not going to happen any longer. My health is a major priority to me, and it's a focus. So if you want to join in on that. Now, let's get to why I'm here. And I'm not gonna be long at all. You can break down success in so many different ways. One of the things that I learned a long time ago is that success leaves clues. Success literally will leave clues. If you watch people who are successful, first thing you learn is success has patterns. And if you check the patterns have rhythm. And if you find the rhythm in the pattern, you find the flow and the momentum. It's so beautiful when you can understand that success isn't this hidden secret. Success isn't something reserved for an elect few. Success is for those who are willing to commit to what it takes to producing it. And success is how you define it. There is no one definition of success in the sense of if you do this, you're successful. Success is about where you're at, who you are, what are you passionate about, what do you want. When I was young, my grandmother bought these LPs. I'm aging myself now, but back when they had albums, and she bought these LPs from this guy by the name of Earl Nightingale. And Earl Nightingale had this deep voice, and I think I resonated with Earl because my grandfather had that deep voice. It was just so authoritative, and you sit there and you listen, and Earl Nightingale will talk about this stuff that nobody else was talking about. But we call it the secret and the law of attraction and manifestation and a bunch of other stuff now. But he was talking about the ability of the mind to create reality, and he did it on many things. But one thing I took from Earl that just stuck in my head was not to allow people to define what success meant for me. And he defined success like this. He said that success is the progressive pursuit of a worthy goal. If you consider something worthy of your time, your attention, your effort, and your focus, and you pursue it, and you're making progress, no matter how small, you're successful. Success isn't in the achievement of the goal. Success is in the progress moving toward the goal. And success happens every day. So you have to really understand that. So I'm talking about this because I really want you to understand and gain an idea, a concept about the dynamic of success. So many people are trying to live up to someone else's definition of success, and you're miserable because you're operating outside the confines of what is naturally and inherently and spiritually and even purposefully inherent to your being. You're trying to do something because someone else has defined it as the thing you need to do, but you're missing your purpose, you're missing your design, and you're out of pocket, and you've got to be careful about that. But there are some things that I learned about this pattern of success of these clues. And the beautiful thing is, if you want to do something, and in other words, you want to be successful, find people who are successful and observe them. Find the commonalities amongst those that are successful, because there will be these distinct, unique, novel things that they do, nuances that are unique to their particular passion. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about find the things that no matter what someone's successful in, they're doing it. One of the things is, and I didn't include that in this, but it's important to me, and obviously the fact that I've been up several hours already dealing before I even jumped on here to talk to you, is waking up early. You'll find that the vast majority of people who are successful get up early. They may go to bed early. It doesn't mean that they actually work more hours. Many do. But what you'll find is they get up earlier. Why? That's just this thing that happens. There's so many benefits to getting up before someone else does. And I'm not going to get into it, but that's one thing. So you look at it and say, okay, I can start getting up early. You can literally start. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to train myself to do is I'm going to get up early. And there's so many benefits that's just going to be associated with getting up earlier. And I'm going to actually deal with that in the coming days about getting up early. I'm going to talk about it in depth and why it's so important, but I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to talk about 3 things that I discovered that I just decided to break out of this long group of things that I've discovered about people who are successful, whatever they're successful in. I'm talking about the exceptional. And what I would advise you to do is find people who are successful in the areas that you desire to be successful in. Observe them. Watch what they do. Pay attention to them. They're going to leave you clues. Pick those clues and use them. Here's the first thing. Invest in reading. Oh my God. According to statistics, the average American reads 1 book a year. 1 book a year. The top 4 producers in success in any area read 1 book a week. Matter of fact, on average, the top CEOs in the country, 1 book a week. Top business owners and revolutionary minds, a minimum of 1 book a week. That's 52 books a year. They're reading 4 books a month on average, a little over 4 books a month on average. You've got to invest some time in reading. For a number of different reasons. Not only does reading expose you to emotional and mental growth and maturation, it exposes you to new information. The beautiful thing about being exposed to new information is the unbelievable boost you get in positive energy, frequency, and vibration. We talk about energy and vibration a lot, and people take it and they apply this mystic idea to what energy and vibration is. The truth of the matter is we understand now in quantum physics that everything has energy. Even those things that seem to be still and dead has energy, because everything is built from atoms, and atoms, when you break them down, are built from energy. So everything has a vibration. Even your thoughts produce energy. Well, what happens is we understand that these frequencies through which these vibrational bursts come from within, from your thoughts to every cell in your body is producing energy. You have an energy field around you. That's why you can walk in a room and you get around one person and you literally are lifted, and things seem lighter because they're at a very high frequency, and they are literally inundating the room with their energy because it's so powerful. And then on another time, you can walk in a room or get close to somebody and literally feel drained. Why? Because they're on such a low frequency, and the weight of that is so heavy. And if you're not in a place where you are managing and controlling your frequencies, you can get caught up in it. Now, the beauty is that energy is resonant. What does that mean? That energy attracts like energy. So normally, if you keep your energy level up, people who are way down here can't really get at you. You can't really be attracted and pulled into their vortex until you open up to what they're doing. You literally have to mentally and emotionally invite them into your space, and then they'll zap you and they'll pull you down, and you'll find yourself struggling to get out. But back to what I'm talking about. Okay, this type of energy is measured on hertz. This is scientific. This isn't some mystical concept about energy that is really some abstract, aloof idea. It's literally something that can be measured. You're emitting energy on a hertz scale. It can be measured anywhere from 0 to 700 and above in hertz. And anything from 500 and above is considered extremely high frequency, powerful, positive, and it produces health in every way possible. And it also allows you to manifest some unbelievable things. It's when you reside in the lower frequencies: fear, anxiety, anger, envy, jealousy, and I can go on, that you're starting to go 250 and below. And that's devastation, frustration, illnesses, chronic stress, anxiety disorders, and everything else, right? But guess what? The highest frequency, love comes in at about, love in the ideal sense of benevolent engagement and the well-being and thoughts of others. Love comes in at about 500 hertz. I want you to pay attention to me now. I'm trying to give you something. 500 hertz, right? Gratitude, which is something I have taught and preached tremendously because it has so much power, comes in at about 550 to 600 hertz. So now you're really talking about being extremely high on a vibrational scale. Okay, 700 hertz, guess what it is? Enlightenment and evolution of thought and idea. In other words, every time you learn something, you are literally putting yourself at 700 hertz. That's higher than love and gratitude. When your mind is developing an idea about something it didn't know before, guess what happens? Every time you read something and it's new, it creates new ideas, new possibilities, new hopes, new aspirations. It takes you to a place where you are literally putting out this unbelievable power and energy. So you should be looking every day to read something. Read something new, study something new, gain something new. Watch the people who flourish. Look at some of the people who have lived past 100 and ask them what they do. They read, they learn, they're constantly evolving. They didn't retire their mind, even if they retired from their job. And that is so important. Let me give you an idea of what resonance is in the energy field. So you're talking about energy, right? And you're talking about resonance. Resonance means that energy is attracted to like energy. It literally draws and attracts it. So if you want to have a positive experience, you literally have to be on a very high hertz level in frequency and vibration. So let me show you how this works in reality, something that you can observe real easily. When I was growing up, you know, the cartoons, you don't see it as much, or maybe I just don't watch that much TV. But back in the day, when I grew up, I was born in the late 60s, grew up pretty much as a kid in the 70s. But there was these cartoons, and there was just all this thing about the fat lady who could hit the high notes, and she could hit the notes so high that she would shatter glass. And so as a kid, you go like, you can't really do that. You can't sing and hit a note and shatter glass. But then you get to you know, physical science and physics and all this other stuff, and you get into science. I think for me, it was the 7th grade. It was middle school, 6th or 7th grade. And you get in there and you find out that you can't actually create the frequency. So, but what's behind the frequency? So everything is built from energy, atoms. Everything is atoms. The difference between something being solid, something being liquid, something being, you know, inconsistency, indifference, inconsistency and flow, and everything from something solid to something soft to something liquid to something whatever, you know, is the speed at which the neurons, protons, neurons, and electrons within the atom are moving. The density of the atom is going to create the density of whatever it is you're dealing with. But there's still energy flowing and moving. A prime example is the very same. There's one thing that has different forms, and it's all based on the amount of energy applied. You can take ice, which is a form of water, but it's frozen. You can apply a certain amount of energy by way of heat, and you will melt it and it will get liquid. You can turn up that heat and apply another form, a higher form of energy in the same way of heat, and it will turn into steam. You can apply even more heat and it will turn into vapor. And you will find out that it can move. And actually, when it goes into its higher state, and I don't want to really get off into this right now, it actually becomes consciousness. But that's a whole nother thing I don't want to get you into. That actually, there have been studies that have shown that energy in the form of the atom, when it's being studied, knows what you're doing before you even do it. There are all kinds of tests. I'm not going to get into that right now. I've shared it. It's out there. I've written about it. It's out there. It's plenty of information on it. But they literally did tests where they've taken people and took cells from their mouths and hooked them up to electrodes on polygraph machines, and put the person they took it from on a polygraph machine, took the cells miles and miles away, showed the individual film that stimulated certain memories, and they got the same readings from what they took out of the mouth, the cells out of the mouth, that's somewhere else completely different, as the readings that the person who was actually sitting there watched them got. And no matter how many miles apart They took the samples. They got the same readings, and this became known as entanglement. If you want to learn more about it, just look it up: entanglement and quantum physics. But anyway, back to what I'm saying. So there's this ability to create this. So back to the physicality of how do we break the glass? Well, what happens is because everything has a frequency. If I tap this desk, I can tell the frequency by the sound. It has a sound. I tap a glass, it has a particular frequency. That's telling you the energy level and the frequency and the vibration it's on. And so a very well-trained vocalist will hear the frequency, quote unquote, the note that the glass is on. And when they hit that note, here's what happens. They emit the note as it comes out, same exact frequency. I mean, to a T, same exact frequency, but it's energy, it's a vibration. It's coming out. Everything is heard by way of vibration. So what happens? The glass is at the same frequency. So what does it do? It attracts the energy on the same frequency. And then when the glass tries to absorb the energy, the vibration is too strong and the glass breaks. That's how you are attracting or repelling things in your life each and every day. So in other words, you need to learn how to attract that. So invest in reading. I said I don't like to say invest in reading. I got a lot, man. I've been sitting up like literally losing my mind, not being able to talk as much and do as much, trying to rest and recover. So forgive me if I get a little wordy. You know me, that's who I am. Stop making excuses. There's going to always be things happening in your life. There's always going to be things that are working against you. There's always going to be problems, situations, frustrations that you're going to go through. It's just simply a part of life. If you're looking for this ability or this time in your life where you're going to be able to circumvent the vicissitudes of life, circumvent the struggles, the hardships, the disappointments, it does not exist. You're going to become frustrated, and you're going to do what most people do when they become frustrated. You're going to quit. This life isn't about ease. This life isn't about comfort. This life is about commitment. It's about commitment and consistency. It's about sitting up and saying, no matter what I do, no matter what I go through, there's something that I'm committed to doing. It's just like with marriage. I tell people all the time when I'm counseling them in marriage. Marriages don't last because they're perfect. Marriages don't last because people figure out every little thing and they line up and everything is ideal. Marriages last because people understand the idea of covenant, which is an idea or a concept or philosophy of commitment. People in marriages last because the marriage becomes bigger than them as an individual. They last in marriage because they make up in their minds that there's something greater than them, that they can accomplish something, their partner, that they cannot accomplish within themselves. They understand that they're going to match masculine energy with feminine energy, and they're going to sync that energy, creating a synergy which is more powerful than the individual entities that they are, and they're going to manifest things that outside of themselves they cannot have. So what they're going to do is make a commitment that when the difficult times come, while we have those common vows of through sickness and health, through rich or poor, in good and bad, and all this other stuff to death. Why? Because there are going to be some bad times. There are going to be some ups. There are going to be some downs. It requires a commitment. It doesn't accept excuses as a reason to quit. Y'all work with me for a minute now. So in other words, there's no excuse. Either you get it done or you don't. When I realized, okay, I didn't take care of my body the way I should have. You know, in some instances I did, but in many ways I didn't. I didn't take care of my body, and it led to multiple heart attacks in 1 week and two major heart attacks that led to a surgery. And I'm staring death face to face, and I have to realize that, okay, I've been given a second chance, and it's nobody's fault but mine. I'm gonna tell you something. There I was in this situation, and I'm looking at it, and I'm sitting there, and I'm literally having a heart attack, and they've called in a rapid response team. And I'm looking my wife in the face, and I can see the fear in her eyes, and I can see her literally praying to God. And so now I'm praying to God, but I'm saying, hey, look, it ain't even about me, because when I leave this place, I'm gone. It's about the fact that she's already buried her mother to a heart attack. She literally watched her mom die in front of her. Don't do this to her. Give me one more chance, and I promise you, I'm going to do better by it. I'm going to honor the commitment of being everything that I can be. I'm going to be more aware and astutely grounded in the ability, in the need for me to be the best version of me in every way. I'm not going to get so caught up in one thing that I lose sight of the other. I'm going to be more balanced. And to be in a situation where you used to have input and the ability to contribute to whether or not you were going to be on this planet for a certain amount of time. But in this time and moment, that opportunity to be there is no longer yours. Now you're trusting something outside of yourself, whether or not you're going to have another chance or not. Once you go through that, you don't take it for granted anymore. But what I had to do is I had to be honest with myself. That's nobody's fault but mine. I could have worked out harder. I could have ate better. I could have managed my time. I could have managed my stress. There's so many things I could have did, but I just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, just taking my body through things and not making it not optimizing it for what I was taking it through. That's on me. I had to accept that. But what I did is I got a chance. So now I know it's on me to do better. I don't make excuses. That was on me. Anytime something's not right in my life, if I look at it deep enough, yeah, somebody may have did something to me. Yes, somebody may. But at the end of the day, for them to get close enough to do any real damage to me, I had to invite them in. Why did that happen? So it's still on me. I've got to manage my space. I've got to make the right choices. I got to know who I can depend on, who I can trust, who I can let in close to me, who I need to distance myself from, how many times I need to get to the gym a week, what I need to be eating. All of those things are on me. If I want to be successful, I got to know what I need to know, what I need, where I need to grow, who I need to connect with, what type of relationships I need to do. All of it's absolutely no excuses. Success is not determined by how much resources you have, how much you have in the way of resources. It's not about who you know. It's not about anything but this. How committed are you to going the distance? What's the distance you're willing to go? Here's the thing. If you're willing to go the distance and the only thing that's going to stop you is death, you're going to achieve some unbelievable things, because when it gets tough, you're not going to fold. But what I can tell you is, if you already got in your mind the thing you can't do, the thing you're not willing to go through, the thing you're just not willing to do, you're going to meet it. You're going to meet the need to do it. And you're going to fold. You're going to quit. You're going to give up. There are no excuses if you want to win. You got to stop making excuses. And here's the other thing. Stop focusing on the negative. There's this thing in your brain, at the stem of your brain, at the base of your brain, right before you get to your brain stem. There's this thing called the reticular activating system, bundle of nerves that literally serves as a data filter. So you got the subconscious mind and the conscious mind, and you have the unconscious brain and the conscious brain. And basically the subconscious and unconscious can process about 400 billion bits of information per second, but the conscious mind can only process 2,000. So imagine everything that the subconscious is processing, trying to be analyzed and used to make decisions by the conscious mind. It can't. So what happens? The reticular activating system prioritizes information, categorizes it, sets it aside. So if you tell your reticular activating system something that's important to you, then it begins to focus on it. It's the reason why you can go to the mall, buy this new shirt or blouse, and you look at it and it's great, and all of a sudden you walk out the mall, the first day you wear it, seems like everywhere you look, somebody's wearing the same thing. It's not that everybody went to the store the same day and bought it. It's been there. It just wasn't important to you until you said it. Same thing with the car. You go get a new car, all of a sudden every time you look up, somebody's driving the car. You didn't notice it as much before, but now you see it everywhere. Why? Because you have told your brain through a number of different mental and emotional transactions. That car is important. Number one is you signed a contract to pay them people, I don't know how many dollars a month for how many years. You sit up and you got sweaty palms as you waited for the answer to come back on what your interest rate would be on the purchase. And then you got excited because of how it smelt and how it looked, and whatever you thought people were going to think about. All this emotional stuff is also attaching a level of importance to it. So now the reticular activating system stamps it as very important. So now it finds it. So basically, what you focus on, the reticular activating system is going to make sure you find. Now ask yourself this: if I'm focusing on why I'm going to fail, guess what the reticular activating system is going to do? It's going to go out and find every reason why you're going to fail, every reason why you're stuck where you're at, every reason why you can never get over this particular. It's going to find it and it's going to show it to you because it's trained to. There are always going to be plenty of reasons for anything, failure or success. It's going to be what you focus on. That's why they tell you focus on what you want and not what you don't want. Why? Because what you focus on, you feel. And you feel it in so many different ways. It's that powerful. You got to stop focusing on what you don't want. Start focusing on what you do want, because what you focus on, you manifest. That's where your anxiety is coming from. You're focusing on the negative. You're focusing on what you fear instead of focusing on where you need to be and where you should be going. Finally, step number 3. Of sacrifice you have to make. You got to be disciplined enough to do what is uncomfortable. We live in a world that's built around comfort. We live in a world where everything is about how good it feels, and nobody wants to step outside of a comfort zone to achieve anything. I want the fruits, but I don't want to put forth the labor. I want the benefits, but I don't want to make the sacrifices. And that is not how things are achieved. You see it and it appears that way. They show it all to you. It seems like, man, I can get around all this and I can have that. Anytime you get around something and grab something, it don't belong to you. You tried to cheat God's design. You tried to cheat nature. And it may land in your hand for a second, but trust me, it's not going to stay because it's not yours. When you go out and you literally make the sacrifices, when you go out and you actually are disciplined enough to go through the process, I tell people all the time, in order to achieve the promise of God, the promise of your potential, the promise of your design, the promise of this life in this world, that you can have and do exceptional, extraordinary things, you've got to be willing to endure the process. The problem is most people want the promise without the process. Most people want to achieve the promise, but they don't want to endure the process. There can be no obtainment of the promise without there first being an endurance of the process. You are going to have to go through the process of development, the process of endurance, the process of the sculpting of the trials and the struggles. They weren't meant to destroy you. They were preparing you for something. They were building you for something. You don't get what you want out of this world. You get what you become. You get who you are. And if you don't have it, it's because you haven't become it. And the only way that you become it is that you go through the process of development and preparation. Oh, there's some pain in there. There's some struggles. There's some difficulty. There's some letdowns. That's a part of the process. You want the promise, but you don't want the process. Process always, absolutely, unequivocally precedes promise. You got to be disciplined enough to do what is uncomfortable. You got to be so disciplined that you learn how to find comfort in discomfort. I've gotten to this place in my life where if it seems too easy, if there isn't a certain level of edginess, I question it. Because everything that I've ever accomplished or obtained worth having came with challenges, came with a certain level of discomfort. I heard Will Smith say that God, he believes that God put everything worth having on the other side of fear. I would add on the other side of fear and pain. That there is a demand or a requisite or prerequisite of sorts that says if you want something extravagant, extraordinary, phenomenal, you got to be willing to go through to get to and to have. It's that simple. It is that simple. So those are the things that I share with you. I hope that I left you with something. I hope that you were able to take it and that you can run with it. I'm excited about where we're going moving forward. I'm going to continue to go. I know there's a lot going on right now. Everybody's concerned with the coronavirus. Let me tell you something. We've survived worse. Am I telling you to ignore it? Absolutely not. What I'm telling you is not to be driven by fear, not to allow panic to set in. One of my favorite scriptures says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power. Power. If you ain't experienced it, you can't understand where I'm at right now. Power, love. There's the frequencies. Check it out. I taught you about frequencies. So you're talking about faith and science. They're not distinct away from each other. They all are a part of God's plan. You can observe something scientifically. You can also observe it experientially, and then you can see it in way of concept and even metaphysics. But hey, God has not given us a spirit of fear. That's not of God. Fear, anxiety, worry. It says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, make your request known to God, and the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your your hearts and minds. Now we're talking about subconscious and conscious. Power, love, and a sound, stabilized, well-grounded mind. There's absolutely nothing that you are going to go through that confounds or surprises the mind of God. I end my prayer and meditation every morning with this statement of declaration. I'm not going to say the whole thing, but at the end of it, I'm going to do the last two stanzas. I want to share this with you. And this is every day. After prayer, after meditation, my statement of declaration says, blah, 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 blah. And then it gets to the point, it says that I see the hand of divine intelligence all about me, and the flowers and the trees and the brooks and in the meadows. And I know that the intelligence that created all of these things is in me and around me, and that I can call upon it for my slightest need. I know that my body is a manifestation of pure spirit, and that spirit is perfect. Therefore, my body is perfect. Also, then it says that I enjoy life, for each day brings a constant demonstration of the power and the wonder of the universe and myself. I am confident. I am serene. I am sure. Check this part out though. It says, no matter what obstacle or undesirable circumstance crosses my path, I refuse to accept it because it is nothing but an illusion. Why? There can be no obstacle or undesirable circumstance to the mind of God, which is in me and around me and serves me now. There is no obstacle to the mind of God. There's nothing that baffles the omniscient mind of God. And if God knew it before it ever happened, don't you think he prepared you for it? Sometimes that's all I've got. I'm in a place where I'm seemingly overwhelmed and I don't have the answer. but I remind myself I've got God. And so I look myself in the mirror and I say, you're built for this. Literally. That's it. You're built for this. It doesn't require that I have the answer. It doesn't require, but the answer is on its way. That's the beautiful thing about being connected directly to the mind of God. Every answer to every problem, there's a solution and an answer on the way. When you trust and you stop panicking. See, you can't operate in the sphere of communicating with God under fear, anxiety, or stress. That's why it says be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. Why? Because it's important. Another one of my favorites, and then I'm gone. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but they are mighty in God. For what? The pulling down, tearing down, destroying, and uprooting of strongholds. How? By casting down arguments and any high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge. There's that mind of God. How do you do that? You bring every thought into captivity, into obedience. Every thought has to fall in line with what you are declaring. Well, I said that was my last, but here's another. Job says you should declare a thing. And it shall be established. And when anything moves against that which is established, cast it down. Look, I'm done. But look, it's up to you. No, it's not going to be easy. If you're looking for ease, that's the problem right there. It's not about ease. It's about commitment. It's about consistency. It's about the force of habit. What type of habits are you developing? On that note, I'm out here. Don't forget, check it out. The 90-day challenge. You want to get on that fitness, holistic health, whole thing, click the link, check it out. 30-day challenge. That's something specific you want to work on over the next 30 days to develop a positive habit that'll move you towards it. Check that out. Whatever you do, I don't care what's going on, nothing can stop the force of faith. Remember that. We're in some trying times, but the law of faith transcends facts. On that note, I'm out of here.
From a conceptual perspective, people talk about a desire to be successful.